They told her she'd never walk again. Not because they were cruel, but because science said it was impossible. Her spine was broken. Her legs were lifeless. But somehow, deep inside her, something was still alive. This is not just a story about recovery. This is a story about courage, belief, and the fight to reclaim a future that was taken away. This is the story of Meera. Meera was born in a small village, full of fields, fresh air, and endless energy. She was the kind of girl who ran more than she walked, chasing butterflies, racing boys, climbing trees. Her mother would often say, "One day, this girl will fly." And in many ways, she did. She wasn't rich. She wasn't special in any obvious way, but she had a spark, and everyone saw it. Until one rainy evening, that spark almost went out. She was just 14. Riding her bicycle home from school, books in her backpack, a smile on her face, rain on her cheeks. She never saw the truck coming. The next thing she remembered was pain, searing, unbearable pain. She woke up in a hospital bed. Her legs didn't move. Doctors stood at her bedside, serious and silent. One of them finally said the words that changed everything. "We're sorry. The injury is severe. She may never walk again." At first, she didn't understand. Then came the tears, the anger, the silence. The once vibrant girl who outran the boys now couldn't even feel the ground beneath her feet. She sat in a wheelchair, watching life pass her by. Her friends stopped visiting. Even her teachers gave up, and every time someone said, "Poor girl," it broke her a little more. One night, curled up in her blanket, she whispered to herself, "Why me?" Her mother walked in, held her hand, and said something she'd never forget. "You can either accept the life they gave you, or fight for the one you want." That night, Meera didn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, then at her legs, and, for the first time, she didn't cry. She clenched her fists and whispered, "I'm not done." The next morning, she asked for crutches. She fell. Again and again. But she kept trying. Physiotherapy was brutal. Every stretch felt like fire. People told her to stop, that it was useless. But every insult added fuel to her fire. She didn't want pity. She wanted power. Months passed. She took her first steps, shaky, slow, painful. But hers. She started walking short distances. Then longer. Her legs trembled, but her will didn't. One day, she walked into her old school. Her classmates gasped. Her teacher cried. Because the girl who was never supposed to walk, walked into that room with her head held high. But Meera didn't stop there. She wanted to run. The doctors laughed. Her neighbors called it madness. Even her therapist said, "Meera, just walking is a miracle. Isn't that enough?" But for her, enough was never enough. She trained in secret, woke up before dawn, practiced on muddy fields, watched videos of marathons on borrowed phones. At 19, she signed up for her first local race. The clerk looked at her brace and said, "This is a mistake." But she smiled and replied, "You'll see." The race began. Within minutes, she was behind. Her legs ached, her lungs burned. Some people whispered, "She won't finish." Others simply looked away. But Meera kept going. Step by painful step, mile by endless mile. And when her body begged her to stop, she remembered that rainy day, that hospital room, those words, "You may never walk again." And she ran harder. As she neared the finish line, people stood up. Some clapped, others cried, because what they saw wasn't just a girl running, they saw a miracle in motion. She crossed the finish line, and collapsed, not from pain, but from purpose fulfilled. The next morning, a newspaper headline read, "She was told she'd never walk again. She just ran a marathon." Her photo was everywhere: bruised knees, teary eyes, proud smile. But behind that photo was a story of suffering, strength, and an unbreakable spirit. Today, Meera runs not just for herself, but for every child told you can't. She started a foundation to help injured girls regain mobility. She trains people with disabilities for sports. She speaks at schools, not as a survivor, but as a warrior. Once a reporter asked her, "What was your turning point?" She paused and said, "The day I stopped asking why me and started asking, well, why not me?" She walks into stadiums where thousands cheer her name. She runs on legs that once felt like stone. She inspires millions who think it's over, because she proved that even shattered bones can carry dreams. So if you're watching this right now, if someone told you you can't, if you're facing something that feels impossible, remember Meera. She didn't just learn to walk again. She ran toward everything they said she'd never have. Because courage isn't the absence of pain, it's the refusal to be ruled by it. This is Tales of Rise, where every story lifts you higher,